So today we are using two different types of data displays to find the mean of a data set. So this is different from last week when we found the mean because, as you can see, there is not a long list of numbers. There is not a data set given to us the way we saw it last week. However, using a data display, we are able to find the individual pieces of data. By interpreting this graph, we can then find the mean of the data set that is displayed here. So if I look at this bar graph, I know it's a bar graph because there are rectangles used to identify the value of each category. So it says a juice shop tracked how many smoothies it sold in the past 4 days. So I see the title of the graph is smoothies sold. I see that on the x-axis we are talking about the day of the week, and then along the y-axis we are talking about the number of smoothies sold. So now if I ask myself, what is the mean of this data? What is the average of this data set? I first need to ask myself, do I know the individual numbers that go along with these bars? Not yet, but I'm going to interpret using my x and y axis to determine the numbers of each. So if I look at Monday first, I know that the height of the bar is going to tell me, it's going to line up with the number of smoothies that are sold that day. So on Monday, 50 smoothies were sold. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a list off to the right to keep track of my data points. So my first data point is 50. When I look at Tuesday, the height of the Tuesday bar lines up with 100. So that means my next data point is 100. I look at Wednesday. Wednesday also aligns with 100. And then Thursday lines up with 60. So I need to recall, how do I find the mean now that I know my pieces of data? I know that I can find the mean of a data set by adding up all of the values of the data set. So adding up all of these numbers, 50, 100, 160, and then dividing by the amount of pieces in the data set. So that means there is 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of data. So in order to accurately add these up, I need to make sure that 50 is aligned. So I'm going to add all of these together, and I am going to get 310. But remember, I'm trying to find the mean or the average. So on average, how many smoothies were sold every day? So when I add up all of these days and then divide by 4, because there are 4 days that we took data from, so now I'm going to have 310 divided by 4, and I get 77 5/10, or 77.5. So that means on average, the smoothie shop or the juice shop sold 77.5 smoothies every day. Looking at this second example, I again am looking at a bar graph. I know this because there are spaces in between the vertical bars of the graph. The background knowledge that I have is given to me up here. It says Shauna looked at her email outbox to see how many emails she sent each day. So again, that is telling me what data was collected. the graph then just organizes that data. So here the title tells me that we are talking about the amount of emails sent. The x-axis tells me the day of the week, and the y-axis, whoops, that looks like an X. The y-axis tells me the number of emails that she sent that day. So again, if my whole objective right now is to find the mean or the average of this data set, I need to make sure that I find the individual pieces of data that are represented in this display. Just like in our previous example, I'm going to write the data points off to the side so I can find the mean of this data set. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each day. I'm going to look at Sunday, and I know that if I go all the way up to the top, that the height of the bar lines up with the number of emails that are sent that day. So on Sunday, Shauna sent 60 emails. On Monday, she also sent 60 emails. On Tuesday, she sent 80 emails. And on Wednesday, she sent 80 emails. So what I am asking myself is, what is the average or the mean? So what's the average amount of emails that she sends per day based off this data? So recalling my knowledge of how to find the mean, I need to add up all of these pieces of data and then divide by the total amount of pieces. So I'm going to add up. So I get 280. So now I need to take 280 and divide it by the amount of pieces of data. So an easy way to see how many pieces of data in a bar graph, how many bars are part of the bar graph? 4. 280 divided by 4 is 70. So this means on average, she sends 70 emails a day. Here we are looking at a data display that is a pictograph. So remember, a pictograph is using pictures or images to represent the pieces of data. The most important thing we need to notice about this type of data display is that a key is provided to us. I know that I am looking at event tickets, and then I'm looking at types of concert tickets or event tickets, and I am looking at the price. The key tells me that one bag of money represents $2, and that the images of half a bag of money represent $1. So if I pose the question, what is the mean of this data set? I know that I am going to have to find, or I'm going to have to interpret this graph to know what the value for each event is. So let's look at rock concerts first. I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full bags of money. I know that one bag of money means $2, so therefore 8 times that $2 gives me $16. So I'm just going to put 16 here. Then the singing competition tickets. I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full bags. So that means I'm going to take 7 times $2 per bag to get 14. And then I have this half of a bag, which is just one more dollar. So this is 15. Looking at the zoo tickets, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bags of money. So 8 times $2 is $16. and then I see a half a bag, so that is just another $1. So this is 17. And lastly, the dance performance tickets. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full bags at $2 per bag, so that is $14. Now that I have interpreted this pictograph, I know the data that represents rock concerts, singing competitions, zoo, and dance performance tickets. Now I need to take all those pieces of data and use them to find the mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pieces of data, $16, $15, $17, and $14, and add them together. When I add these all up, I get 62. So now I need to take 62 and divide it by how many pieces of data there are, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of data. And I also know that we looked at 4 different types of events. So 62 divided by 4 is 15 and 5/10, or 1/2, but I know I'm talking about money, so this means I need a dollar sign and I need to put a 0 in the ones place. So I have $15.50 as the mean or the average of this data display.